So you've probably heard the term intellectual property, right? Or maybe IP for short. It gets thrown around all the time, but what is it actually? It's not about owning a house or a car, it's about owning an idea. And honestly, getting a handle on this is super important if you want to understand our modern world, from art to tech. Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this, let's start with a word we all get, property. Simple enough. We all know what it means to own something physical. But intellectual property? Well, that's a whole different ballgame. It's about owning something that came straight from your own mind. And this slide, well, it lays it out perfectly. Over on one side, you've got physical property. A house, a car, a chair. Stuff you can actually touch and feel. But on the other side, that's intellectual property. A story, a song, an invention. You can't touch them because they all started out as just a little spark of creativity inside someone's head. All right, so we've got the basic vibe, right? But what's the official story? Let's dig into the more formal definition and see how this all connects. It really all comes down to one single powerful idea. This right here is the absolute heart of it. Before we even look at the long definition, just let this phrase sink in. Intellectual property isn't about factories or raw materials. It is purely 100% about the amazing stuff that comes out of the human brain. Everything else we're going to talk about flows from this one simple concept. And here's the whole shebang. So, IP is the product of human thought and inventiveness. But the really crucial part is that it gives rights to the originators, the creators. It's basically the legal system giving a high five and saying, hey, you made this with your mind, so you should have some control over it. And that, in turn, gets people excited to create and invent even more. So that's the what of IP. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty and break down the different shapes and sizes it comes in. Because, not all ideas are protected in the exact same way. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's one thing to talk about products of the mind, but what does that really look like out in the real world? Let's take a look at the actual forms this stuff takes. You can pretty much think of IP as having four main categories, just like you see here. Each one is designed to protect a totally different kind of creation. Let's do a quick run-through of each one. First up, you've got all the creative works, which are usually protected by something called copyright. This is probably what you think of first, that book you couldn't put down, the screenplay for a hit movie, or that song that's been stuck in your head for a week. What's interesting is that copyright doesn't protect the idea itself, but the specific way that idea is expressed. Next are original designs. These are often covered by design rights. Now, this isn't about how something works. It's all about how it looks. It's about the aesthetics, the unique visual appeal of a product. Think about the iconic shape of a Coke bottle or the unique look of a designer chair. It's all about protecting a specific look. And then we have the big one, inventions. This is where patents come into play. This category has nothing to do with looks. It's all about function and new ideas, how something works. We're talking about groundbreaking technology, a new life-saving medicine, or a totally unique way of manufacturing something. And finally, we've got trademarks. These are all the symbols, names, and slogans that instantly tell you who made a product or service. Those iconic logos or catchy brand names. They're like a mental shortcut for quality and reputation when you're out shopping. Okay, wow. So we've covered a lot of ground here, from stories and songs to logos and life-changing inventions. But there is one single golden thread that ties all of them together. Let's bring it all home. This slide really just says it all, doesn't it? Whether we're talking about a global brand recognized by billions, an invention that saves lives, or a piece of art that moves you to tears, every single piece of intellectual property started in the exact same way, as a simple thought inside a human mind. Which kind of brings us to one last question, and this one's for you. We all have ideas, right? Big ones, small ones, crazy ones, and understanding what intellectual property is all about lets us see the real potential, the real value in our own creativity. So, what ideas are you protecting?